Welcome back to Professor Dustin. In this video, y'all, I'm going to talk a little bit about keeping it cheap, man. If you're a teacher and you're like me, there's not a whole lot of money to go around after you pay your bills and buying groceries. God knows they're super expensive right now. What I want to do is I want to give you a little bit of the tips that I follow to help my paycheck go further at the end of the week. Before I get too far into it, I just want to say, if you've liked the content that I've been putting out these last few weeks or so, and you're thinking about how can you help my channel grow, please like, subscribe, share with some of your friends, whatever it is. Those things really help me a lot, especially when I'm able to go in there and see the analytics and see that people actually are caring about what I'm putting out. It just makes me feel good about what I'm doing. With that out of the way, if you're thinking about wanting to go into teaching, or if you are like me and you've been in education for quite some time now, it's no secret that money doesn't go very far if you're a teacher. I mean, people told me back in the day I'd never be rich, and I honestly never really felt like that was something that I needed to do, or if I was going to do it, I would do it by something other than going into teaching. But I'll also say that that turns people off from the profession. A lot of young people that might go into education tend to maybe go into other things, or might say even their parents might discourage them from being teachers because it doesn't pay as much as going and being a doctor or a lawyer or a pharmacist or even a nurse. And I'm just like, you know, if we want to do this thing, we got to make sure that our money is going to be able to go far enough to pay the bills, and also you got to make sure you can afford to live the life that you've dreamed of, whether that includes living in a place with a high standard of living in comparison to some other places. You want to make sure that you have enough money to last you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a little bit of the things I've done over time that I feel like might help you out as well if this is something you're looking to do. I will say, if you really want a lot of good information about how to make your money go further, then obviously you can subscribe to programs like Dave Ramsey, or the one that I follow the most is the Money Guy Show. These guys will tell you all about saving money and investments and things like this to make your money go 100% better than what other people, your peers, are going to let their money go. If you haven't really started, or if you're brand new, you're just fresh out of college and you're looking into teaching, one of the first things you need to do is get $1,000 into an account so that you can pay off any kind of a rainy day situation, like your car breaking down or whatever it might be. That's definitely the first thing you want to do, is make sure you have money to pay for that rainy day. These strategies will hopefully help you get there quick. Strategy number one: services can be extremely expensive. Cell phone services are often criminally overpriced. Like, I mean, I'm telling you, you look at Verizon or AT&T or even Sprint, T-Mobile, you name it, and the amount of money you spend on a cell phone service is absolutely out of this world. And then they also want you to have to go and buy and upgrade a new phone every year, and the phones just keep on coming out, and they're $1,000 every single time you go and buy a new phone, and so you feel like you need to stay on top of that. Guys, my phone bill is about $13, $14 a month, if that. Might even be lower than that. My wife, I think, pays a couple of dollars more than me per month, and we do this by seeking out smaller companies that piggyback off the same cell service and same cell towers as some of the bigger players, like in our case Sprint, or maybe even Verizon or AT&T. And the one that we use happens to be Tello. If you go to Tello.com, they have extremely affordable plans that give you the exact same amount of service as Sprint. I can tell you, I never drop calls, and you know, for me, it's worked out really, really well. I do use my phone for work-related stuff, for friends, for calling my wife all the time, and it's really worked out very, very well for me in the way that I use it. To kind of take that a step further, is a lot of the cell phone companies that you go with, the big ones, are going to also piggyback, as I just mentioned, a cell phone plan where you're actually making payments and interest on cell phones. But what I've done is I've gone on Amazon.com, I found the Motorola Edge is personally what I use. And I think I paid like 300 or 400 bucks for this thing when it was brand new. I'm rocking the 2020 version of this phone. The point I'm trying to make is that even that is more expensive than some of the other unlocked Motorola phones or other phones you can find on Amazon that are going to serve exactly what your needs are. I mean, on my particular phone, I even play video games like Call of Duty and Genshin Impact or whatever else it might be the kids are playing these days. And I've got plenty of space on my phone. It runs with plenty of RAM, and the service is perfect. And I'm even recording this video on my phone right now as you speak. and it works for me extremely well. So in short, find a cheaper cell phone service like Tello or TextNow or whatever it is you might go with. Find a good, affordable phone on Amazon, and that is gonna save you possibly $100 a month or more on your phone bill. Number two, one of the biggest saving factors of my personal journey is anytime I'm wearing something that I'm gonna wear to work, like a dress shirt or dress pants, I'm going to Goodwill for it. Right now, my entire attire, from my shirt, my pants, okay, my shoes came from Amazon, my hat was a 4-pack of hats from Amazon for about 16 bucks, but my shirt is a Michael Kors shirt. I'm wearing Hagar pants. I mean, my wife tells me those are expensive. I don't really know because I pay about $2 or $3 for each of them from Goodwill. So you can go to a thrift store. For me, Goodwill is around here in this area, and we have some people that, I don't know, I guess they start out their good careers when they're young, and then they get fat and they send some practically brand new clothes into the Goodwill, and I'm able to go in there and buy these things at super discount price. And depending on the day of the week you go, you could get your red tag or your blue or green, whatever the colors are, and end up getting them even cheaper than the posted price. Man, usually when I go to buy clothes, I buy a lot of clothes, and I'm spending 50 or 60 bucks, and I have a completely new wardrobe that lasts me a considerable amount of time. I also am very gentle with the way I wear my clothes in order to make them last longer. Like, for example, I don't always wash clothes after I wear them. I just don't get dirty, and then since I'm wearing them mostly to work, they stay clean, and you don't have to put them in the washing machine, which is very damaging to your clothes over time. So you're able to make things last for a long time on the cheap. I really love Goodwill. It takes some time to sift through all the crap to find the good stuff, but if you're willing to do that, you can find some serious deals and save a ton of money. All right, I already said that we're not going to talk about investments or anything beyond just saving on things in this particular video, besides to get to $1,000 as quickly as you possibly can. But I will say the number one thing you want to invest in is your health, because if you're not healthy, nothing else really matters, right? Because you're gonna be too sick to do anything. So one thing that I really do feel very passionate about is the emphasis on my health and fitness, and I do have a gym membership right now, but for the last 2 years, I really haven't had one until the month of November. And so what I did was I stayed fit with buying resistance bands, which are usually pretty cheap. I use the Rogue website, and I'd buy resistance bands. You can go on Amazon and buy resistance bands, and you can hook it up to a tree, to a fence, to your porch, whatever it might be that you have that you can hook a band up to. You can do all sorts of resistance. You can find tons of workouts online or on YouTube for completely free after you pay for the bands. So I'm talking my gym membership in the last 2 years might have equaled $100 when you include the bands that I bought. Also, maybe a little more than that when you also include a punching bag, because the next thing I want to tell you about your fitness is that if you don't have to be a genius and you don't have to be super good to be able to pick up how to punch, how to do basic kicks. Shadow boxing is a big thing, but if you spend 130 bucks on an Everlast standing punching bag, you can put that in the backyard somewhere or in the garage, and then you have the ability to do a little bit of boxing on your own. And again, on YouTube, there's a tremendous amount of boxing videos that teach you the way you can use Nate Bauer Fitness, or you can use HasFit, which is one of my absolute favorite videos because I just like the way he does the shadow boxing. There's so much you can do there. If you do want a gym membership, because I mean, if you're like me, you do better when you go somewhere to work out rather than do it at your house. Something like Planet Fitness, which is only $10 a month, is the best bang for your buck, absolutely. Number 4, entertainment doesn't have to be incredibly expensive if you're willing to kind of do something that's outside the mainstream. So for example, every now and again, I will go see a movie. We have a drive-in near where I'm at, and in the drive-in, you pay a lot less than you're gonna pay to go to a movie theater. I know most people don't have drive-ins anymore, but there might be, rather than going to a movie theater where you're gonna see the next newest movie, if you wait a little while, you might be able to find this at different types of showings and events, like outdoor movies during the summertime at the local park run by your city, or maybe at the library. I know that in my area, both our library and our Parks Recreation program tend to do outdoor movies and things like this. There are other church groups that do outside movies, so you can find different types of entertainment like that for basically free. There are other free events, like just going to a local park or a local walking trail. The city where I live recently did Christmas tree lighting, and there's gonna be parades and stuff like this coming up, and you know, my church is doing a a free program where there's Christmas light walkthrough events, as well as a concert and a drama. So there's all sorts of free things coming up for the Christmas season, but these things tend to be pretty prevalent throughout the year as well, if you know where to look or if you're willing to seek them out. And if you have kids, a lot of these things are family friendly, or just taking your kids to the park or somewhere is always a big win with my kids, and it costs absolutely nothing to do it. Number 5, you gotta be driving something. You gotta be driving something reliable enough to get you to work. You don't wanna always be breaking down or having to fix something, or else you're gonna end up spending more on repairs and you're gonna spend on the actual cost of your car. And I'll say that if it's paid off, it is my dream car. So my dream car is absolutely paid off. I'll tell you that the Money Guy show, which is, I'm gonna put the link down in the description, definitely my number one go-to for financial advice if you're looking for anything like that. They talk about a strategy of 23-8. Buy 20% down your used car, pay it off for no more than 3 years to make sure it doesn't equal more than 8% of your gross income. Y'all, that's a really good strategy because that enables you to get something reliable, which also isn't gonna break the bank, but also isn't gonna break down all the time. So that right there is a really good strategy. I would take it a little further and say, once your car is paid off, drive that thing into the ground. Right now, my 2 cars are well over 10 years. One of them is almost 20. It's about 19 years old. It's a Toyota Highlander. So Toyota absolutely makes a great long-lasting car. But I'm telling you, my dream car is paid off, not a Lamborghini. I'm saving somewhere around $400 or $500 a month just simply not having a car payment. I'm going to ride that train as long as I can. Number 6, you want to make sure that you're saying no to any kind of an impulse buy whatsoever. Don't ever buy something without taking the time to sleep on it. And for me, I sleep on it for several days, and then even still, you gotta have the willpower to not jump on something that you can't afford before you can afford it. It's gonna be a time to do it. There should be a motivation for doing it that justifies it as not an impulse buy. So if you're buying something because you walked in the store and you saw it, chances are you'd probably regret buying that thing anyway, and it's just gonna be something that's gonna suck all your money away. Another thing too to think about is if you can cut back on the small things which add up. I remember when I was doing economics in college, we had Gregory Mankiw's textbook, and it was called The 10 Principles of Economics, and one of those principles had to do with saving money by cutting marginal costs, and that's the one that really stuck with me and resonated with me. But in my household, that might look like not buying new Christmas decorations or not replacing the rug in the front of the house every single season, or putting up some kind of a new cute sign because we can use last year's cute sign. These kinds of things here can save a lot of money down the road. I think it's sometimes eye-opening when you look down at your transactions and your expenses and you see how many times you spent money on something like decorations or something that could have probably waited or maybe not even been bought in the first place. Sometimes just having the ability to discern what that is and say no to the small things, or definitely always no to impulse buys, is going to help your money to go a lot further so you can have stuff on the things you really want down the road. Number 7, this is kind of a hot take because there's a lot I know my generation as a millennial, most of us, we like to buy time and buy convenience. And what I'm trying to say is my mentality here as what the money guys would call a financial mutant is that I'm thinking about your deferred gratification now so I can save more to buy time back at retirement time and I can live well at that time. But what people do today is they pay for services like lawn care or like Uber Eats or whatever it might be. So a lot of people pay for different services out of convenience when usually these are things that you can just do yourself for substantially cheaper. Now, if I was making $1,000 a month on making YouTube videos, which I'm not, it might be more worthwhile for me to pay for these services so I can spend all my time at home making videos. But most of us in education, we're not to that point where our time kind of dictates the amount of money we're able to make unless you do have a really lucrative side gig, in which case this probably doesn't apply to you. But if you just don't want to cut the grass because you just don't want to cut the grass and you're going to spend 40 or 50 bucks a month to get somebody else to come in and cut your grass for you, you are missing a huge opportunity to save money, to invest into a Roth or into your retirement or whatever it might be. You're just really missing an opportunity. So if you combine these 7 things I've said, you're probably in a position very easily. I mean, to me, this is low-hanging fruit. You're probably in a position to be able to make your teeny tiny, pathetic little paycheck go a lot further just by cutting costs of some of your everyday activities. And that's really what my hope for you is, and that's my motivation for making this video. If you're a brand new teacher, I'm hoping that knowing these things and knowing some of these tricks can help your money go further so you can spend more time saving and investing. And if you're a veteran teacher, maybe you've got kids, or maybe you've been around like me, hopefully some of these things is going to be a way for you to take a little bit of the cost away so you're able to make your paycheck go further for you and your family. I hope this video was helpful for you. Like, subscribe, share. If there's anything that I can do for you, let me know in the comments what you'd like to hear, and I will see you guys in the next video.